Perfect.
Hi, everybody. Hello.
Welcome in.
My name is Isabel. This is my brother Josiah, and we are energetic mechanics. So today I will be channeling in some of my spiritual guides to give some advice from a guide. But we like to tie all of the spiritual space into grounded, practical advice. If the information we're getting isn't moving our life forward, then what's the point?
And we'll have a habit of looking up here too for everyone joining on YouTube. Thank you for joining in. Our topic today is how can we communicate with guides effectively? Not asking them what you should be doing, but instead going into ways in which they can support you as you're going about your day.
Yes.
Why have we learned this for ourselves? Because we've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, literally, of conversations with Spirit over the years, and it's completely transformed our lives. Not because it was some magic bullet that came in and fixed all issues that was there, but because they were able to work with us on actually effective solutions to help us move forward mentally and how we process. So we didn't feel like we were looping thoughts all day. How to move forward physically so we didn't feel anxious about every step that we took, but we could actually be more grounded in the self. How to move forward energetically to understand that when we were doing spiritual work, it was actually work that was effective for us and for those that we were supporting.
Yeah, and so, we both started in a place of a ton of anxiety and put ourselves in very extreme situations. I was a preschool teacher for many years before jumping into this, and I'm going to get into a channeling here in just a minute. But our topic for today is how to communicate with guides effectively. And I think I really learned that, honestly, when I was a teacher, like learning how to communicate with these little humans who don't really know how to be in a classroom. They don't know how to be around other children. They don't know the expectations of the teacher. And it's very similar as well to working with guides. Like, some of your guides are brand new into this space. They haven't worked with the other guides here before. Some of them don't know what your expectations are of your structure and of your space. So you get to be like the teacher of the space and explain, hey, this is what I need and what the expectations are.
Are your guides very advanced beings? Of course.
Yes.
What it's more related to is free will. As advanced as your guides are, they will respect what you are purposefully or subconsciously drawing into your space.
Yeah.
And so that's why setting standards of what you're looking for and how is so extremely important. They have not left you. They have not abandoned you. And yes, you are worthy. It's just about finding a structure that works for you, how you can set your standards so everyone's on board. Your guides understand and your system is ready to move in a direction that you choose. That's manifestation.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to jump into bringing in a spiritual guide through Isabel here. We're going to start probably with Ethos. He's a great opener, talking about basics of what guides are and how they can work with us. And we're going to dive into the topic of today in manifesting based on the type of questions we're asking to our guides and the way that we work with them instead of just asking them, what do I do?
How to effectively communicate and work with your spiritual team.
So I'm Josiah, that's Isabel. We teach energetic mechanics. We're going to dive into the mechanics of how to work with your guides and move your life forward.
Perfect.
Katie, thanks for joining again. We're going to dive right in with Ethos and get the ball rolling for today.
Great.
I will be...
Thank you! That was so cute! Thank you so much!
Who was that?
We appreciate it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'm going to be off camera here, but if anyone has questions as we get started for a spiritual guide, Isabel's going to bring them into the body to talk with everybody that's on. I know you're just kind of saying, but we've been doing this for a bunch of years now. Do you want to explain your process before we go in?
Yeah, so if you have any questions for one of my guides in my space, absolutely leave them in the comments and Josiah will ask. When I'm channeling, I operate fully from my heart space. So I've been developing my ability to differentiate. So I know all of my guides, their energetic signatures, their intent, and this is dealing with, yes, my team, but other energies as well. So when I'm channeling, I always go into my heart space, and I'll invite in this instance, Ethos, who's more of like my secretary guide, to come into my heart space. He'll fill his energy up in my body, and my consciousness will kind of come out here. And so I will see my guides as like a second skin I'm wearing, like a translucent second skin. But I have set a lot of intentions to not always remember what is being said, because I just don't want my brain getting in the way at all. So I'll bring in Ethos for you. And if you all have any questions, how did you meet your guides?
They can say that from their perspective, actually. That can be our opener
That's
to
a
this.
great idea. Okay, well, I'll have Ethos talk about how he met me. Yeah, okay, perfect. I love it. All right, I'm going to go bring in Ethos for you guys. We go get him.
And I'll be off camera as I am now, but I'll still be here to pin any questions that you have. Thanks for getting us started here, Vicky. Hi, Ethos.
Hello, Josiah.
Thank you for joining us today in the group that we have on.
As always.
I want to start off with, if you could give a little bit about who you are in Isabel's space, as I usually ask, and Vicky gave a great introduction here. Can you describe how you met Isabel in whatever way that means for you that you would like to bring forward today?
Yes, now, within this particular energetic space, I am supporting in bringing forth the information of the collectives and energies in the field in a way that can be processed and comprehensible within the body and the neurological processes. I also support an emotional identification and regulation, along with aligning the logical brain into the emotional states of the body. Within my previous reincarnation cycles on Earth, I had learned how to align the logical states with these emotional bodies. This is why this is my primary focus when working with this particular vessel. When I first met this soul, it was 3 reincarnations ago, when I stepped forward into the role of more of an emotional support guide with a secondary primary guide as the focus. This was my first lifetime stepping into the role of that primary or secretary guide to help manage the mass amount of information that has been seeping forward. Within this lifetime, I came into the awareness through her father, when he had channeled me into his vessel to be introduced into the system. This is where we originally had a conversation and connection. From there, she began feeling my energy a bit deeper when calling my energetic signature forward through symbolisms. This began developing into seeing and hearing. I had helped to bring forward some of the other guides into the awareness when that intentionality was set.
Ethos, I think this is important for people that are joining, knowing that everyone has a spiritual guide and a team coming forward as an example of how to connect with teams. And so what I want to ask you, and what Katie's bringing forward, is how did Isabel set intentions to you to where the two of you could build a deeper connection and understanding so the work that you were doing became more effective? What did that process look like from your side as her guide?
Right. Now, when we first began connecting, it was simply about feeling into the energy that she was looking for. When I first connected in with this vessel, she was in a very dense emotional state, very dense mental state. When she was able to pull forward my energy, she found a difference in energetic signatures. This is what created the initial connection. For about many years, it became simply understanding what my energy feels like and calling it forward, asking allowing for certain emotional states to be present within the body. From there, this began developing into greater emotional regulation, being able to identify which emotional states she was carrying was not hers and what was. When she was able to identify the states that were not her, then she set intentionalities for me to help bring out those emotional states, transmute them, and replace them with feelings she was looking to incorporate: peace, love, joy, happiness, things of this nature. What this created was a validation loop within the brain. My energy has always been present. Intentionalities are more so for aligning the brain processes into that of the feeling-based center and allowing your guides the opportunity to step forward. Now, how intentionalities developed is when she began becoming very specific about what it is she was looking for, pulling my specific energy forward for what particular task she was looking to accomplish, and explaining to me how she was looking for me to support in this accomplishment.
Ethos, have you always been the secretary role for Isabel? And has her roles changed over time, as well as, for those that are joining us, do their roles of their guides often change and shift over time as well?
Right. Now, in this particular reincarnation cycle, I have primarily been the manager or the primary guide within this space. In previous incarnations, when I was part of this vessel's energetic space, I was not the primary guide, but I was more so there for emotional regulation in this state. When I first came into the awareness, I was there to help, yes, manage the emotional states, but still acting as this primary guide. Now, when you are working with your energetic team, guides and roles can absolutely shift in dynamics based upon intentionalities and your use of free will. Guides can oftentimes switch out roles or bring forth other guides to support you based upon where your trajectory is heading on your timelines.
With that being said, Ethos, what are ways that we can effectively work with our guides? This is going back one step a little bit. But when we set specific intentions, would it be an effective point to start from the feeling base? What you're looking to feel throughout the day and inviting your guides in to support you in this. Isabel started in that sense. I know I did. Would you say in more of a general sense it can be an easier access point to start working with your team?
In a general aspect, this is going to primarily be the most effective model of developing the connection with your energetic team. Why? Because when we are now incorporating a multitude of avenues for this connection, it allows the brain to be able to process and comprehend the energy that is now around you. Emotional states are directly energetic signatures. Now, for example, when working with guides, if you place a labeling on them, for example, mine was circular glasses, bringing forward this visual, asking to feel a certain emotional state from this guide. Now you are connecting the brain processes into the feeling and tapping in to developing the third eye, the imaginative brain, to now connect and create a more validation loop and cycle. Opening the third eye and connecting with your team is all about retraining the brain rather than trying to force the guides forward. The brain's perception will warp energy. So when we can begin starting through validation with the feeling modalities and tying a symbol into that feeling, now we are developing the third eye senses with control, regulation, and clarity.
Thank you so much, Ethos. With that being said, can you give a word of advice to everyone joining us today?
Working with guides begins with working within the self. What is the core needs of your space? This is something that I primarily helped this vessel support in. What are the core needs of your emotional fields? What are the core needs of your mental fields, of your physical fields? And when we can identify the core needs, great. Now we are at a starting point to begin working with our guides. Many begin turning to guides and not understanding what questions to begin asking, how to begin communicating with them. So first, do the internal work. What is it that I am truly needing? What is the emotional platform, the mental platform, the physical platform that I am looking for support with to be able to progress my life forward to a certain degree? Once this is identified, now have that be the framework of your intentionalities going forward.
Thank you, Ethos.
As always.
We appreciate you joining, as you always do, and we will talk to you soon.
Yes, is there anything else you need from me in this moment?
Not in this moment, but thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Isabel. Thank you all for joining. If you stick around, you will see many different personalities come through, many different guides come through. That is what the two of us have been working on for all these years. I hold space for the room, and Isabel brings in specific guides while we're on live. It is her team or my team coming through. We do individual sessions where our focus is, what is your team looking to portray directly to you? We've realized everybody has a unique system and a unique way of opening up. And that's why these 3 steps that we've been taught, whatever they are, meditating, pendulum, and third step, and using a crystal, eating more, or whatever it is, eating less. These simple steps aren't working for us because they're not getting to the root and the core of what the issue is.
Yeah.
What we've been doing all these years is asking lots and lots of questions from our teams on how to create a structure that will actually work for people, that addresses the core needs so we don't all feel stuck. We're trying this tool. We read this book. We understand the head knowledge of it, but for some reason it's not working. And that's what we're here to address, the mechanics behind what's actually going on. And our dogs.
Yeah, my dog is like clawing at the door.
Come on in.
Come on, Bambi. All right, there we go.
Yes.
Yeah, I say we jump in, let's go into another channeling.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So with that being said, if you're interested in interacting with your own team, by the end of this live, we're going to give avenues and talk a little bit about how we do individual sessions. But while we're on, we're going to go into different roles that are present and how they can support us. So the energy that came forward, for those who saw the first channeling here, that was Isabel's, we've been saying manager, but more of a...
He's like my primary guide. He's my secretary. So everything funnels through Ethos, and Ethos explains all of this information to me in a way that I can actually understand.
100%. And so another guide that we're going to bring in, I feel like we go into protector energy next.
Mm-hmm.
So potentially Maverick.
Maverick or China.
Another energy is a protector.
Thank you.
The deeper we dove into this work and we asked our teams more and more questions over the years, the more we realized the roles weren't really being used in an effective way a lot of the times. Because we were reading books and learning from other people, and when we tried to apply, it wasn't moving us anywhere.
Right.
So one thing we learned about protectors, and we're going to bring them in directly in one moment to speak to everyone that's on. One thing we learned about protectors is if we just try to push away, release, we don't want this, we don't want that, we don't want this, it will be a never-ending battle.
Mm-hmm.
Our attention is going on what we don't want constantly.
Trains your brain to look for that.
And we're directing our energy towards what we don't want constantly. And what we like to reframe them to, and the label that we use in energetic mechanics, thanks for joining, Sarah, is upholder. What are we looking to uphold? And that is the true core of what these guides are here to do. What is your truth? What are your standards? What are you looking to bring forward? How do you want to feel? And we will uphold that and cut through the noise of what is not relevant. When we put our focus there, they become 100 times more effective. Because when we give a structure, When we give a definition of what we want to hold, they know where our free will is directed, and it gives them the energy to do the work that they're here to do.
Yes. Who do we want? Feminine protector, masculine?
I say Maverick today.
Maverick?
I'm just drawn to bringing him in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. We'll bring in one of a few different protectors, but we'll bring in Maverick, one of my protector guides. I did like the original question of how they met. It's pretty cool.
We can open with that too.
Yeah,
That
I think
sounds
that'd be good.
October the Oracle, I think we're about to jump into a channeling in 1 minute. Red, thanks for joining. This is such a key and like an anchor point to what we do on here is to expand on this real briefly before we bring them in.
Yeah, we're about to jump into another channeling here.
These different roles of guides, whether they're an upholder, whether they're a manager of your space, whether they're whatever it is, there's more, but that'll be a whole side topic to go into in the moment. They're here to remind you of what's in here.
Yeah.
They're there to remind you of your own strength, of your own ability to organize, of your own ability to reach out and meet new people and expand your light. But it's dense here. And so sometimes we need support in that. Sometimes we need a reminder. Sometimes we need an example.
Thank you.
And sometimes we just need help on our journey. And that's what guides are here to do.
Yeah.
Not to be the ones to tell you, you have to do this, you should do that. And a lot of times we try to box them into that role. The more and more we bring them in, the more they come to express. They're here to support us in our intention, in growing in ourselves and remembering in who we are.
Remembering who we are. I think that's such a good point there.
Remembering and creating. And so let's bring in a protector. We're going to bring in Maverick today to talk about effective ways to work with upholder or protector energies and how they remind us of who we are.
Yeah.
If you have questions, right, this would be
for
a good time.
a protector / upholder energy, I'm about to channel in mine. So if you have any others, let us know. I know there was a question up here. How long have you been doing this? We have been connecting in for almost 10 years now. Yeah.
Probably about 8 when we were exploring it within ourselves. The amount that we've been working with others, it's been hundreds of others at this point for the past 3 or so years, and helping them connect to their own teams and find their own truth within. With that, Isabel's about to channel, and we do it with strong intentionality.
Yes. Yes.
Lots of regulations, lots of controls set up, lots of intentions on what exactly we're doing and who we are pulling in. We do not advocate bringing in anything around you in the space to support.
Nope.
What we advocate for is working with those guides that are for the heart, if that's something you're drawn to.
And having
excited
that
about.
discernment for them.
And learning the mechanics behind how to work with them effectively. With that, let's bring in Maverick. If you have questions for a protector, feel free to ask as we're going. I will see them. I'll be off to the side here.
Okay, let me go get Maverick.
Hi, Maverick.
Hi, Josiah.
Thank you for joining in once again. We kind of switched themes a little bit into going into protectors, but our overall topic today really is how to work with our team in an effective way. And we started today with asking Ethos a little bit about his experience with meeting Isabel. So if you and Isabel are up for that, I would love for you to explain your experience with interacting with Isabel and developing that connection over time. And then we'll get into questions for everyone joining.
As you know, my dynamic is a bit more complex. Would you like me to go into all of that?
If you want to ask Isabel what parts she
her.
would love to bring forward. Because I know there's 10 different areas we could go into for storytelling.
She said it was all right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I originally connected in with this vessel in the in-between lifetime. There was a lot of density, duality that was revolving around the soul originally. coming in. And this was reflected in the childhood and in a lot of negative experiences, perceived negative experiences that were brought forth. There was a period in her life where her soul was very close to untethering, and her intentionality was to fully leave the body and return back to spirit. That is when my energy had went to the entirety of the team, and a portion of my soul had integrated into a physical body of an animal that she had recently received at that time point. From there, that is when I had these strong intentions to help re-tether her soul back into the body. Once that was completed, my soul fully returned back into spirit, where she met me on my more energetic scale. I was, and still am, a protector energy in her space. I primarily help now to serve when the vessel is channeling other beings, to make sure that the space is held, that the intentions are upheld, and that what she is resonating, the frequency she is resonating at, is also maintained. Previously, when we originally met once again in spirit, that is when I was really supporting in that more of defense, which many reflect as protectors. It has shifted over the years into upholding the intentions of the space and directing these intentionalities outward.
How has Isabel's change and how she works with her team affected how you have shifted in going from pushing away into upholding?
When you make a key shift of pushing rather than exuding the self, what that creates is not only your protector, but the entirety of your guides to not always be on the defense, but to have more focus and emphasis on placing that weight on your intentions and supporting you. For many, if you are finding that my guides are not there, I'm setting intentions and I'm not feeling it, from a protective standpoint, what this could mean is that there is a lot of excess energy in your space that your team is now trying to manage. So when looking to uphold these intentions you are setting, it's almost as if your guides are multitasking. When you are exuding the self, upholding from the self, now that attention is fully directed and received back into the heart center.
With that being said, I got a little distracted from my dog there.
She feels my energy. It's all right.
With that being said, what is the importance, and when we do start to actually dive into our truth, what we are upholding, and we set specific intentions to our protectors, in what ways can they be more direct in helping us uphold our energy? Is it just information-based? Can it be feeling-based? How can we experience that help?
When you're working with primary guides, or mainly any of the other guides in your system, it is going to be more so information-based and helping you make these transitional phases that you're in. When working with your upholders, it is going to feel a large energetic shift. It is felt within the system because now we are clearing out the energetic noise. What is of one is reflected to that of the other. If there are not spiritual boundaries and energetic boundaries held, you will find that reflected physically. People do not respect your boundaries. You have difficulty creating or having difficult conversations with others as well. When we reflect one, it helps support the other. So when dealing with protectors, and if they are in the primary role of that protection avenue, they are not always going to be the ones where you have the informational downloads from, where you get those necessarily strong and consistent feelings from, because we are very task oriented. Other guides are going to be there to converse and have conversations and help open up pathways. But when you set a specific task to us, that is our sole role, to complete it and maintain it.
With that being said, I want to ask you specifically, Maverick, knowing, for everyone on here, knowing that they have their own upholder or protectors that they can draw into their space. From your perspective, what advice would you give to those joining to uphold their own boundaries and their own truth?
What are the core standards that you are setting for yourself? Who do you want to embody and be at your core? You do not have to have it all figured out in this exact moment, but what are characteristics that you want to be your new standard? Allow that to be the framework for supporting the self and expressing to your guides and your upholder, this is the standard of my space. This is the frequency that is only allowed forward. When we are only releasing and not setting those standards, now we are going to be constantly in a ruminating cycle of releasing because your team, your protectors, do not know what it is you do want. So identify that for yourself. Not experiences, not dynamics, not relationships, but you. How do you want to feel and move and be, and allow that to be the framework of communicating, yes, with your protectors, but the entirety of your team and yourself.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll talk soon.
It was good seeing you.
Good to see you.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome back, Isabel.
Oh, hello, everybody.
Thank you for joining, Julian. We appreciate you being here.
Hi.
Golden Ground Healing. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for everyone being present with us today.
Yes.
We've been doing this
Yes,
for a
yes.
lot of years, but our goal really here is to relay as much as possible of what we've learned through this time through direct experience of how we've learned it.
Yes.
We've learned it through our teams and taken that information and gone out and applied it to see what works. We got asked on the last live, good to see you, Sharon. On the last live, we had a great question about how do you know, or do you have evidence for what you are doing, and is it actually working? The evidence that we started with when it was just us was when we started channeling or receiving information through artwork, as the paintings that I have behind me. We would take the tools, techniques, and guidance and immediately apply it to see what happens. What were we applying it to? And this is so key. Our physical lives.
Yes.
When we got information on how we can hold our energy, how we can start to flow, how we set new standards, we did that with relationships, with people around us, learning how to get outside of our comfort zone and make new friends, join new classes, start a business, live our life to a fuller degree. It wasn't about having more head knowledge on spiritual work. It was about were the techniques coming forward helping us to live a more full life? And then we started working with others.
And then that's where the evidence and the validation came in. We've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people at this point, and every session seeing that, oh my gosh moment. Oh, thank you. Seeing that moment where they feel validated, they feel heard, information that is channeled is exactly what they've already been experiencing, and seeing hundreds of people's lives change over working with them. Because, again, not just head knowledge, but how do we take this and then ground it and apply it in our physical life?
Get an understanding and then understand how to use it. That's what we do with energetic mechanics. Turtle Mark, you asked a very metaphorical question that I would love to try to answer. How would you welcome someone on the rainbow brick road of life that doesn't feel welcome. We go through, and I feel like I can feel where this question is coming from. We go through struggles within this life, as we all know. Mm-hmm. We've all been through some pretty dense things. What I want to bring forward through the lens of what we've done over these years and what got us to actually start changing was realizing we weren't alone.
We're siblings, but thank you.
Was realizing that we had support in a very tangible way. Was realizing that we're not broken. There's just a lot of energy on Earth right now.
Yeah.
And when
dense.
we figure out how to navigate that and hold our truth, we can really start to experience life in the way that we want. Mm-hmm. My first message to somebody coming in would be, remember you can create. Remember you are a creator. Remember you're not alone in all the situations you've been through, all the heaviness that you are holding. You have support in releasing it. There is support there to remind you you can create within this life. Your protectors remind you of your strength and can support you in that. Your light bringers, which we've labeled as those childlike energies that are guides, can teach you how to feel that joy again. Your managers of your space energetically, those guides that help you manage that energy, can remind you on ways you can build systems and structures to be more organized. They are a reflection of what is within you. You are worthy. I don't care what label or what title other people are given, how many different classes they've gone through. You're worthy.
Anyone can do this, and we've seen it time and time and time and time again. It's about the mechanical structure that works for you.
And here's something for those that have been in the spiritual space. For those that have had a hard time creating consistent connection, feel like they don't always see or can hear their guides, but know they're out there. Mm-hmm. Just because you can see or hear them doesn't mean it's actually helpful. I want to say what I mean by that. There are many people that can see and hear their team, but have no idea how to work with them effectively, A. Or B, they receive so much information that it becomes a detriment because there's information coming from this way, there's information they're interacting with here from other people, from ancestors, from guides, and so much noise becomes overwhelming. So if you're feeling like my one way of connection is just through feeling, I can get a sense of where they are, that is valid.
Yes. I don't think many people say that.
No,
it's
and
valid.
Growing on who you are. What are your structures? What do you want to create in life? How do you want to feel? Where do you want to end up? And inviting in those from your team that can help you do that. More and more and more and more doesn't necessarily mean better. More and more and more and more senses doesn't necessarily mean better. Are we using what we're already receiving in an effective way? Because I guarantee you there are messages and signs coming forward to you today that if we opened our mind up a little bit to look for them, we would see them.
Yeah. And so I know I'm on here channeling, and I'll jump into another channeling here in a moment, but that's not really what we teach people. Our goal is when you work with us long term that you don't need us. That you don't need anyone else to go to get that information and feel your guides, because you know how to work with them, how to receive, how to communicate with them, because your guides are not with us and they're not with anybody else. They are with you.
So why always, for the rest of your life, have to go to a medium or a psychic or this or that to tell you what your guides are doing? You should have the inherent ability to do so, and you do. We teach the mechanics behind how to do that. If it was 3 steps, we would just say them right now. But oftentimes people have a very unique way of connecting, and it's in finding that.
Yes. There was a question up here. I'm so sorry to hear that, Robin. And I do have a lot of intentions. I don't channel in family members because I respect them so much that I don't feel comfortable bringing them into the body. What I do focus on is bringing in guides. So that way we can get a better understanding of how to work with them and how you can connect in with your family members or your guides on your own.
They also do, the addition to that is oftentimes guides will give messages from loved ones though as well.
Yes.
And relay through that.
Yes.
But our focus is on guides themselves. But thank you so much for being here and being present with us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes, we need no middleman. Guides and guardians are there to help. Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. Do we want to jump into another channeling?
I think we do one more for today.
I'm kind of feeling Cece or Joshua.
For everyone joining, do you want to list off the different types of guides?
Yeah.
And see what people are more drawn to?
So I know I've already channeled in my primary guide, my manager, Ethos. I have y'all are funny. I've already channeled in one of my protectors. So we can either bring in Cece, who's my light bringer. She exudes that childlike excitement. We can bring in my higher self, Joshua, who gives an overview of guides and teams and structures. We can bring in one of Joseph's guides, one of his monks.
Ptolemy and Daniel.
We could bring in Ptolemy or another perspective from a protector on Josiah's team, Daniel. So let us know if you're looking for a higher self, a light bringer, a protector, or kind of more of a monk type of energy. Daniel, Joshua.
So far, I think.
Cece, I think we got 2 for Cece, so I think Cece might be.
I think we'll roll with Cece for today, but we'll keep
Cece.
We'll keep Daniel and Joshua in mind as well. We'll bring them back.
All right.
With that being said, Cece is a lightbringer.
Yes.
The focus of her energy, and lightbringers in general, she'll say it herself, but to give everyone some context here, is to help you feel childlike excitement within your space. Everybody has a spiritual guide. We've labeled this role as a lightbringer.
Yes.
That's the role that we brought forward. A lightbringer in your space can be an energy you reach out to that helps you feel childlike excitement and creativity.
Yes.
In Isabel's space, this role's name is Cece. And Isabel channels them in for anyone just joining, brings them into the body for them to speak with everybody that's on. That's through years of intentionality, creating a lot of guidelines, and understanding exactly who's coming through from the heart space. With that, do you have any other...
If you all have any questions for a Lightbringer guide that helps with that childlike excitement, leave them in the comments, and Josiah will ask Cece when I bring her in the body. So we'll give a few moments for that. And we could ask her how, from her perspective, how she met me too.
Okay,
You know,
that's been our theme.
That's been our theme, so we can just keep rolling with that if you want.
Sounds good. I'll be off camera, but if you have any questions for Cece as we are going, I will see them on the side and pin them if I can. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Do you want me to go ahead and bring her in?
Sounds good.
Okay, let me go get Cece.
Hi, Cece. How are you today?
I'm great as always. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us.
What do you need?
We have a fun question for you actually today. Our question is, if you could start us off with, how did you meet Isabel?
Are you speaking of the origin of how we met, or just in this lifetime?
I would say in this lifetime, how did you two come into contact and start working with each other?
We have been together for many, many lifetimes. I was brought forward into the awareness, even though we've known each other for millennia. I was brought forward into the awareness this lifetime through Aina.
I don't know if I was even aware of that. So Aina brought you forward? So you had another guide present and bring you into the space?
Yes.
Is that a common thing that happens for people, is guides can see what the needs are and bring others in for support?
Yes.
Why is that?
To see what you need, and they bring it into the awareness, so it's almost like we're puzzle pieces that fit all nice and cozy together.
Why are there so many different pieces that are here for people to help them throughout a lifetime?
Well, to reflect all the aspects that you are. You aren't just one singular facet of a personality. You're multidimensional, so we are as well.
What is your particular role, Cece, as being a light bringer? What do you do to support Isabel? And if others wanted to reach out to their own light bringer, what can that role do for them?
Well, I help the littles. I first came in from Aina, one of her other guides who works with more collective energies. She brought me forward. I also work with a collective of angels. And with that, we help work and support the littles in the space, the younger ages. So when they are feeling those triggers or those traumas or those densities, I go in and help support them so they can feel a little bit lighter. It helps you to be and feel you. Be more future focused so you don't have to worry about constantly digging in the past. But that's what light bringers are here for. We're also here to help you experience and feel the beauty and the energy and the light that is around you. I came forward, especially in a time when Isabel was experiencing a lot of trauma triggers still in the space. And so whenever she would have a trigger, Joshua would pull me forward and he would put me in front of Isabel's astral face. And we would sit there and we would dance together until she felt all better. Light bringers can support you in whatever you need in this space. If you're looking for yours, you can ask your higher self to bring them forward. You can ask your primary guide to bring them forward, or just call them in yourself.
What is the importance, Cece, of remembering what it was like as a kid to feel that freedom and excitement and joy and to go about life in that kind of manner, even when things happen? How can we get back to that type of energy?
People weren't meant to hold as much as they do. You were meant to be a vessel. You were meant to learn experiences, to understand the lessons from them, and to keep moving. But what has happened over the cycle of Earth is that so many people turned away from Gaia and away from Source. They've turned away from themselves. And now everything gets stored and held in the body. But how can we help reverse these effects? When you were a child, you did not hold on. You cried, and then you went about the day. You were angry, and then you went about the day. This is why it is so important to reconnect in once again with that childlike energy that is around you, because they know how to flow. People are conditioned to learn how to retract over time. But when we can reconnect to that joy, that is where we can find flow again, be that vessel again, so we don't have to hold, but we can be and experience and love and grow and find the joy in all of the moments. That's what your light bringer is here to remind you of. Not of anything else, but they're here to remind you of you.
Thank you, Cece. James, you're asking some great questions. I'm looking for ones I can tie in directly. And so James is asking, and I'm going to tie this into the flow of our conversation, CC. What's the difference between demons and angels, and how do vessels avoid possession? My question for you, based on that, how I want to orient this, is how do we find the guides that are truly here for our heart, that are here to help us uphold what our intentions are, and how can we make sure we're on point with finding those that are really there to help us uphold our truth?
That's a great question. That is the key of following the excitement from within, of following the compass of the heart, of following that love. When we set strict intentions and have those parameters for the self, that is what your guides also mirror and uphold for you. When you feel into the energetic signatures that come forward, whether it is a light bringer in your space or any other guides, they are never here to tell you how you should be acting, what you should be doing. They are never here to judge or impose their will. But if you find that energy coming in, then we can understand this is the energy that I can flow, and I can find, once again, the energies that bring me joy. When we find our base physically, that reflects energetically, and vice versa as well.
And it's interesting, I know we talked about this before, but you're going to the feeling based as an initial way of identification, of feeling, does this energy bring me joy, excitement, or draw me forward? Or do I feel heavy in this certain moments when I feel this energy coming forward? And that can be a way to start to understand. Is that right?
Yes, that is a great indicator.
And then when we clarify that to our team, now we have a whole support system that can help us navigate this. Is this right?
Yes. If you are simply asking to release unaligned energies, well then you must first identify what is aligned.
Thank you, Cece. With that, I want to leave the floor a little more open to you. What advice or guidance or words would you like to give to everyone joining us today?
When you go throughout the life, there is a lot of duality because of everyone else's intentions, free wills, conditionings. But what can you control in your life? You can control your reactions and your perspectives. So take the next hour, the next day, the next minute to find one thing to be joyous about. When I first started working with Isabel, I would show her different mantras to say, different words of affirmations when she could not feel it for herself. On her drives to work, we would sit with each other and say good morning to all of the trees and the squirrels and the animals and the cars. There is always something to find in the day, and the more that you find them and acknowledge them, you're not only finding and matching that vibration within yourself, but you're raising your vibration. So it makes it easier for your guides to connect in with you on a deeper manner. So find one thing that you can be grateful for, that you can spark up a smile for. And although that seems very broad and general, the more that you practice and do, the more you'll find those lower emotional states and lower energies just dissipate. And you are able to raise that vibration, and you will start to see your guides coming forward in a whole new manner because you are the one in control.
Thank you for joining us, Cece. We appreciate it. As a reminder, Joshua is usually there to support. He's sitting right behind.
He always waits for me to tell him I'm ready, but I never know when I should go. Is it okay to go now?
Yes, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, my cheeks hurt.
I'm sure.
Woo!
Ready to scoot a little that way.
Woo! Hi, everyone.
Welcome back, Isabel. Thank you all for joining today. That was Cece, a Lightbringer Energy. If you're just joining, you're probably asking, what the heck is going on? But we channel in spirit and we bring them in to help people connect to their own teams and understand what's possible, really, when working with their guides.
So I was just channeling in one of my light bringers, and on the live, I also brought in a protector and one of my primary guides as well. But these roles are not specific to me or to Josiah. You all have a team and guides that are around you in this moment.
If you're looking to connect with them directly, what we have been practicing for all of these 8 years is to hold space for you when we get on in a session and bring forward your specific guides that are already there. Why it is oftentimes difficult, and I don't think I've described this in this way before, so I actually want to go into it a little bit. Why it's oftentimes difficult to be able to connect with guides if you're like, I know they're there, I've read the books on it, but it's hard for me to connect. Why aren't they listening to me, or why aren't they there? They are. Oftentimes, we're interacting with a lot of energies throughout the day, and there may just be a mixed signal. Yeah. It's like we're trying to talk to our guides, but we have really loud headphones on and it's hard to hear them. So when we get on an individual session, we practice to help to clear some of that noise so you can get a clear understanding of who's there. I move back the noise with my team, while Isabel brings forward your guides through that so you can get a direct connection in that moment. We identify while on a session who is there, what are their names or symbols that they would like to give you, and also how they can work with you directly. We also bring them in, and Isabel channels in one of your guides so you can have a direct conversation, a back and forth conversation, asking them for clarity on certain life situations, asking them how they can connect with you more easily so you can directly ask yourself, because that's the whole point of this. If you're interested in that, we're doing that for a $100 jumpstart session to get you jump started on this on Zoom. Feel free to DM us right after we get off the word jumpstart, and we'll set up a session for you. Thank you so much for everybody joining. You're amazing.
Those of you appreciate you being with us
who join us regularly. Thank you for the kind words as well. And we're on Monday through Friday. Message us Jumpstart after if you want a session, and these clips are now going up on YouTube. You can search our name on YouTube, and these will start to show up now based on how many times you all have been suggesting that. So
which we love.
We're finally doing it. It's a little clunky at the moment. We've only done a few, but we're going to get better at it on YouTube over time. This is right now has been our focus on these lives, but thank you all. We'll see you soon.
We love you so much. Back tomorrow with some more channeling.